Hello, folks, and welcome to the Relationship Builders Customize Your Love Life series. You are here again today with Bobby
You messing it
and
up.
Joy. Right? Anyway, so today we're going to talk about hurt people, right? So we thought we'd talk a little bit about how when you've been hurt in a previous relationship, how you carry that hurt with you to go on to affect other relationships, right? A lot of people don't realize that they're just carrying baggage from one relationship to the next, right? They think, oh no, I'm over that. Please, I'm done with him.
Yeah,
Da 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 da.
something new.
Or whatever. They think that, oh, they've left it behind. But based on how they behave in the next relationship, it's a clear demonstration that if you're still angry and upset with a new person, or that you're finding yourself bitter and all that, obviously you've carried what you've been experiencing from previous relationships into your next, which then cause what? People can't last through those situations, right? Because now you're expecting the new person to bear what you've experienced, because as Bobby says, people always say, you need to accept me for who I am. Not with that kind of crap.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like, people can't carry their insecurities and jealousy. And the thing is, you're putting it on somebody else. And it's not fair that you meet somebody that you don't know for a long time, but because you're hurt now and now you're on alert, you're going to put that person on notice now, so they have to live up to what you're trying to live up to, the insecurity, or whatever you've got in the last relationship. And that's the problem, is the people are putting their stuff on other people, and those people are not responsible for it. And when people remove themselves or say, I'm not dealing with it, then and remove themselves, now they get pissed now. And now they're gonna start to hate. Now they're gonna have hard feelings, right? And people are like breadcrumbs. They drop signs and everything along the way to let you know this is who I am, right? Mm-hmm. So when you go into that relationship, sometimes you might bring a representative, but it does not too
Always.
long before they go home. And when they go home, the real you start to tiptoe right into that relationship, and you start to see what I'm going to be dealing with, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're not aware of what's going on, then and you're just in bliss and you're in la la land
For a minute.
yeah, and the sad part is sometimes that's when you should be paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because at the end of the day, people are going to sign off, but this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am. And it's up to you at that point to decide if you want to deal with it. But, to our point is that at the end of the day, when you take on hard feelings because you misread something or you didn't get it right and you go all in and that person removed themselves, remember, you made a decision. You didn't have to go all in, but you go all in. So now that you're hurt now from that situation, now you're going to take it to somebody else, and now they're going to have to fix that.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the most unfortunate thing, in the sense that we have a tendency to see what we want to see. Guilty myself. Bobby and I have our own stuff, right? And so we take that, and then it becomes baggage that we carry, even in the context of the relationship. And I think that's how relationships become very toxic. But then you take that, and now you're hurt and upset about what the last person did, and he did this or she did that, and now you're walking around, with that big old bag on your back, and then you drag it into the next one, and then you're into the next one, and then you're wondering why this one is going so sour so quickly. But you don't realize what you're carrying, you don't realize what you're bringing, what you're displaying to another person. It's always looking at them. As Bobby says, we're so outer directed all the time, we can't see what role we're playing, right? And we're all guilty of playing a role, right? No matter what we say, I can turn around and blame Bobby all day long, yeah, and trust me, I do, right? But there's times when I have to turn around and say, okay, how did you get here? What's your issue? Why are you feeling this way? Oh, you were a participant too. Remember the whole 15 years while he's been here, you've been here too, right? So that's how we got to where we are. So it's just when you're hurt, you carry things. And I asked Bobby an interesting question last night. And it was just, I think it was last night or the night before, and I said to you, when I came into this relationship, did you feel that I come into it with like baggage of being hurt and upset and throwing, my past relationships onto you? And interestingly enough, he said no, he didn't feel that. And I'm glad that I didn't. I mean, I had been alone for 5 years, so I would hope that in that 5 years I had let that go. And what it is some people, and I have some people who come on the Relationship Builder page on Facebook, and they come on there and I'll make a post about something, and then they'll talk about, oh, how all men do this, or men push themselves on women, or men expect women to have sex with them so early on, and this is that. That's somebody who has baggage. I'm sorry, right? Because I didn't say anything to hurt you, or I didn't say anything to directly harm you. I don't even know you, but yet you're coming out and you're saying all these things, which is demonstrating that you're hurt and you're upset, and now you're throwing it on not only to maybe the next person or anybody you may be dating, but to me, who's just there to try to get you to open up or to realize or have some context in your life, and it becomes my issue now, right? So the baggage that people are carrying, and the more you spew and the more bitter and the more angry you are, people can see that. Right? It's like you're throwing the door wide open to say, look at my issues, this bothers me because A, B, and C. But really it's just that you're a hurt person who's now gonna spew that onto anybody who says anything that's other than what you want to hear. Right? Relationships are work, people, right? And you can't expect him to do his part and you're not doing your part, or her to do her part and you're not doing your part, right? You can't run from that. We all have stuff, let's face it, right? But in order to make these relationships work, we have to do something else. And I think that, as I say a lot of times, when Bobby and I come on here, is because through our own relationship and our own experiences, and having stayed together for 15 years, Relationship Builder was created to, be a platform for us to not air our dirty laundry per se, because we're just not like that.
Yeah,
But
go to TMZ for that.
right? But to demonstrate that even through our own stuff, that we're still able to be here together and work through things. And because of and through our experiences now, we're able to share with you what you can do in order to build your relationships, or have healthier, happier, more harmonious relationships, right? And until you actually learn to look at yourself and to see where you're coming from and what your experiences are and what brought you to where you're at, you're just going to keep on bouncing around. Like, I guarantee you that, right? And I think, even though I don't think we did it consciously in the moment, but one thing I loved about him when I met him early on was his thing was trying to make it work, right? We're here, we're together, so let's try to make it work. My thought was, oh, I'm ready to run. I can't do this, right? But with him, it was more like, kind of like, no, we're here. I didn't come in here to run out, so let's figure this out. And the more I saw that he did that, the more I learned to, I can't say that I calmed down right away, but the more I thought, oh, okay, it's not about getting here and then just running. It's about, how can we make this work? How can we stay in this relationship, right? Because he was the type of guy, I felt like he's not going to take me seriously. He's going to go about his business in a hot minute. And so because I had that in the back of my mind, I just thought, okay, we'll just run out of it and leave him alone. But it was like, no, I didn't come here to do that. So how can we make this work? And then you start to figure out, how can I make this work? But I find that people too often these days are more saying, how can I leave, more than
Yeah, I gotta come up with a contingency end plan to get in this and run.
right? Everybody's trying to figure out, how can I run out of this, instead of how can I stay and make it work. If you chose them, you saw aspects of them that you really liked, or that you thought could work.
Yeah, but you
Right?
know what? Yeah, but sometimes people come in with a plan B, and the plan B is, what do I do if this doesn't work out?
Right.
So you're going in talking about if this doesn't work out,
Which
meaning
means you're
that,
setting up for if it doesn't work out.
yeah, so you start planning your exit strategy already, because this is just a drive-by. Right? And it goes right to the same thing about, I'm talking about serial daters, right? Serial daters don't look at themselves. They're never out of the problem,
Right.
right?
So is
They get
everybody
into a
else.
relationship, it's nice, it's fun, and then when it starts to get stale and they had enough, they move on to the next one, right? So you have to realize that if you're not coming to a relationship talking about if this one doesn't work out, then you have a better chance of making it work, because there's no other one. That's the one, right? But if you go in with this idea of, if this doesn't work out, you're already shooting yourself in the foot and trying to win the race, and that's not going to happen, right? So you have to really pay attention to your thinking, right?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
might thinking that, oh, by me saying that, it's just I'm making sure I'm protecting myself. No, you're not really protecting yourself. Are you kidding me? That's not protection. That's setting up yourself for more hurt.
Yeah, for
Because
failure.
in that
Yeah.
relationship, you're not going to be in it, because you're waiting for the shoe to drop. And when
Yes.
you're waiting for the shoe to drop, you're not in the moment, so you're not really, really having fun. You know what I mean? Like Chris Brown said in one of his songs, you're waiting for them to f up, right? And once that happens, then it confirmed the plan for you that,
Yep.
yes, you see, it's good to have a backup plan, because
Right.
this one is done and I'm on
Right.
the run,
Right.
right? So it's like, like they say, a guy will have his girl and then have another girl on the side to say, if things fall apart at home, I have this one to run to. So people think they're securing themselves and they're making sure that they're okay, but what you're really doing is you're setting yourself up for a world of hurt, or team end up look stupid, right? So the whole idea is, the mentality that you're going to the relationship with. What was on your mind when you're thinking? You're thinking, is this the person that you can get married to? That's a wrong idea, because you can't be judging people just right off the bat, because they might not turn out to be right.
Mm.
If you're going to relationship and thinking that this person is a cheater, this person is gonna not be home, they're gonna be abusive, or it's not gonna work, then you're really setting yourself up for a world of hurt. And sometimes you might not even know it, but what you're doing when you say these things is, like, let's say you're speaking it into existence.
Yeah.
So once you go into the relationship, the very thing that you think was gonna happen is happening, but then you're acting surprised. Hello, you predicted it, so why you acting surprised?
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
Sometimes they talk about people seeing our psychic. Sometimes we are our own psychic, because sometimes we feel something, right? But sometimes we go against conventional wisdom and go against what somebody says or what somebody's saying that you should do. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't go into a relationship with a negative mentality. You go into a relationship thinking it's not going to work, then why are you going in the first place?
But that's what hurt people do. So again, we say hurt people, and really it boils down to hurt people already came in or already coming in with a contingency plan because they're already fearful that they're just going to get hurt again.
Yep.
They're not trusting. They're not open. They just think, well, if that person hurt me, chances are this person is going to hurt me, as opposed to coming in there with an open heart. Like, why would you start another relationship if you don't believe that something good can come out of it? Just to have someone there, just to have someone to have fun with or to be with for a time? Or do you really want this to work?
It's just see. Let me just see if this can work. That's what it is. It's not. Come on. Let's just see if this is gonna work now. All right, let's do it. You know what I mean? When you go into it that kind of behavior, like I'm telling you, it's the mentality, right?
Right.
You go into it with mentality like just that, then just like justice gonna happen. And then when something goes wrong in justice, well, I see that it was gonna work, so just see, I'm out of this one now.
Yeah, and now it's not, it's not working.
But sometimes you can go into a relationship with intention, but you have to be mindful of how you're going to do that. You have to be open too, and you can't be thinking it's that it's all you. It's have to be you and you plus, right? Because if it's just you going in with a cowboy or the king shit or whatever attitude and think it's all about you, then what's going to happen is when they pull the rug or they're not really there for the way you expect them to be there, then it's a different story.
I agree.
Right? So it's all about your mentality. Think of this, watch your mind and see how you react to certain things, and then you can have an idea of what's been happening. It's never the other person, it's always you.
Yeah, and the only person you have control of is yourself ultimately anyway, right, folks? So just remember that, hurt people do hurt people. And if you're in a situation where you are hurting from a previous relationship, like Bobby said, take note of your thoughts, how you're feeling, what you're thinking. And if you're going to the other one to say, let's just see, then, or with a plan to say, see, it couldn't trust you anywhere, you weren't going to be that good person or whatever, then you're just setting yourself up for failure anyway.
Right.
So, folks, thank you for your time again today, and we will see you again in the next video. Bye for now, folks.